Welcome back, guys. We're going to take a little bit of a break from the Texas weapon systems and all the dust cover brutality, and we're going to touch on another subject that I commonly see. It doesn't matter where, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, and it's on the subject of 7.62 by 39 subsonic ammunition. I get a lot of people claiming that this stuff will tumble, as in keyhole, and what that means is basically the bullet doesn't stabilize and it literally starts to just end over end as it's going down range. Basically their claim is that the twist rate of the average 7.62 platform, which is about 1 and 9.5 inches, 1 and 9.5, just is not enough to stabilize. And as a general rule of thumb, yes, if a bullet is generally quite heavier, that's the faster the speed that you want on that. So anyway, we're going to test 3 different guns. We're going to do a base test. We're going to fire some standard ammunition at about 50 yards at first, and we're going to see, and just to confirm that none of the rifles have accuracy issues to begin with, and then we're going to proceed with 3 different types of ammo out of 3 different rifles, 25, 50, and back out to 100 yards, and see if there's a certain platform that handles them better, or if, yes, the myths are true that this ammo does tumble. So let's get into it. All right, just to start things off, we've got my dad's old Wasser. I use this at Kalashnikon, so yeah, I know this thing does really well, but still, again, for the sake of science and everything, we're gonna fire 5 rounds. I'm not gonna go for accuracy. We're simply seeing if bullets tumble. So here we go. All right, there we go. Next up, we've got my Galil Ace Gen 2. I'm not sure if this KNS piston is adjusted for this, so might see some malfunctions, but again, we're just going to see if it tumbles. So definitely wasn't adjusted for that. No malfunctions though. But yeah, that was spicy. The Ruger Gen 1 American Ranch. This thing is a cool little gun. I mainly use it for hunting, but yeah, let's get into this. All right, and we are empty. So let's head down range, see what we got. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No keyholing or anything, so we're good there. Paste these up after we move on. Here we've got their target from the Galil Ace, the best group, shortest gun, best group. So it just goes to show you, just because you got a longer barrel, long barrel does not necessarily mean better accuracy, but yeah, same thing, no tumbling. And last but not least, the group for the Ruger American, also respectable. Yeah, no tumbling. So we're good. After this, we're gonna start shooting subs. We're gonna start at 25, go to 50, and then go to 100, assuming none of them have any issues with tumbling. We may find that we need to exclude certain rifles or certain ammunition if tumbling does arise. But yeah, let's get to that. All right, here at 25 yards, got some of the Brown Bear or Barnoul 196 grain loaded up. This is some of the first like mass-produced subsonics that I've seen. Now it's almost impossible to get because of the Russian ammo BS going on, but I do have some, so we're gonna try it out. And again, 25 yards, no suppressor. This thing's probably not gonna cycle them, but we're still gonna be able to see if we're getting any tumbling. So here we go. The Galil Ace. This thing will definitely cycle these, and it's gonna sound amazing. So here we go. All right, Galil Ace down, Ruger American Ranch. Also want to point out the reason why we're doing 4 rounds is I have about 2 boxes of each type. So we're gonna do about 4 shots each, because if I do 5 shots per rifle, per yardage, I'm at 45 rounds, which I don't have that much. So anyway, let's continue. All right, let's go down, see what we got. All right, so we have, let's see, look at that one. These look to be okay. This target's kind of at an angle, so it's kind of giving the illusion, I think, of those tumbling. Maybe they're starting to tumble, who knows. Right now, looks okay. This is the group out of the old Wasser, so let's move on. All right, Galil Ace, everything looking really good as expected. So this one's definitely good to move on with the brown bear. And we've got the Ruger American Ranch, same thing, everything's looking good. So we'll definitely move on with that ammo and that rifle. Okay, so next ammo type we've got is the PPU 182 grain. I've done some testing with this before, and this is not going to cycle in anything except for the bolt action. But either way, we're going to see if we can get any keyholing. Wasser out of the way, we've got the Galil Ace. Again, even in this gun with this higher back pressure can, it's not going to cycle. But boy, it sounds good. Okay, all right, now for the Ruger American Ranch. And we're good. So let's go see what we got. A little sun hood on because I got sunburnt yesterday, and I'm not trying to continue that trend the next day. So anyway, you'll have to kind of deal with it. But this is the Wasser with the PPU ammo. Looks good. Group looks good, surprisingly. Obviously it didn't cycle in any gun except for the American Ranch because you gotta run it manually. But so far, so good. That one will be moving on to 100 yards. All right, we have a Galil Ace target. I'm hitting off to the left, but all of those look really good. Also, group is pretty good. So moving on to 100 yards. All right, Ruger American Ranch. It's got a scope on it, so it's obviously the best group. And like I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure that thing has a tighter bore than the other 2 rifles. So group looks good. Moving on to 100. All right, so the last one we're gonna do is Hornady SubX. I'm gonna do the 3 shots on these because I don't have as much ammo, and this stuff is not cheap. But I also suspect this not to cycle in the Wasser just because I don't have a can on it. But in my experience so far, this stuff has done very well. Actually, since that target's not very far away, I can see those hits, and it's pretty wild. We already have keyholing. It remains to be seen if this stuff is going to keyhole in the other guns, but just wait till you see this target. All right, Galil Ace. This stuff will cycle, and it's going to sound great. So far, my experience with this thing has been pretty good. So let's see. All right. let's go to the Ruger American Wrench. All right. All right, let's go look at that crazy looking target. This is nuts. I mean, every single one of those was perfectly sideways. Ironically, the group is still pretty good. I mean, just that's smaller than my fist. I got big hands though, so but yeah, either way, smaller than my fist. I don't know. I think yeah, these are, ooh, hey, hang on a second. Look at that. That is freaking crazy. So just like that is one of the SubX's completely wound up around itself. That's a soft lead core. I mean, I can deform that lead with my thumbnail. So the cool thing about those SubX rounds is that they do reliably expand at these super low velocities. But something I want to point out, this is an empty 7.62x39 case put up against one of those keyholes. That projectile is as long, if not slightly longer, than this case. So that's pretty nuts. But sounds like we're not going to be shooting any more SubX through the Wasser. So the Wasser is done at 25 with SubX so far. The Ruger American Wrench, all three look really good. Like honestly, this thing, The shape of the punch, the hole punches, they look really good compared to the other two guns. I will point out that I think the Ruger may have a tighter bore than the other two guns. Case in point is, before I've had some issues with subsonic ammunition, and it was from a brand called Atomic, and they actually accidentally loaded all of these subs with a 308 diameter bullet, and 7.62x39 is a 310 to 311 bore. So I had good groups at 25, but I had horrible keyholing at 50. And I've just had some of that ammo laying around. I shot it through the Ruger, and the Ruger actually shoots it very well. So that is what leads me to believe that the Ruger possibly has a tighter bore, probably 310, where these other two, you know, the Galil and the Wasser probably have a 311-ish, possibly even 312 bore on those. But I'm guessing, judging by the keyholes we're getting out of the Wasser, that it is probably a 312. But with standard ammunition, it seems to shoot pretty well, so I'm not super worried about it. And obviously, it's not a gun I usually run subs through with a can. So no harm, no foul. All right, we're at 50 with the Wasser. See what we get here. For the Galil Ace, like we know already, this one is going to cycle. Looks like one of my targets blew down, so I guess I'm going to shoot head box for the far right one that we've been using for the Ruger American Ranch. Okay, time for the Ruger American Ranch. Okay, let's go see what we got. All right, so this is our Wasser target. That's actually really good. That's a pretty impressive group. I wasn't trying super hard, but I did have a good rest, and that grouped actually really well. So far, Brown Bear and the Wasser, pretty good. Okay, so this is the target I had to shoot two groups on because my middle one fell over due to the wind. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all from the Galil Ace. 1, 2, 3, 4. This pretty good group here is from the Ruger American Ranch. So all of those, again, look really good. So everything so far seems to be doing really good with the Brown Bear ammunition. Again, unfortunately, that stuff is like unobtainium now. So anyway, we're going to move on with all three of those rifles and that ammo to 100 yards after we test the other two. All right, now we got PPU in the Wasser. It's sad that the Ace doesn't cycle these things because, man, they sound really, really good. All right, let's go see. All right, so you're probably gonna see a little bit difference in video quality here. My normal camera, it's hot out right now and it's shutting off periodically due to the heat, but I adjusted this target to where it was more straight up and down. That way we wouldn't have any more iffy times where we thought it might be keyholing. Like if it's keyholing, we're gonna know. But the 182 grain PPU shot accuracy wise, that's actually pretty good. Granted, we're only 25 yards, but definitely no keyholing or anything. So that one and that rifle with that ammo is definitely moving on to the next distance. The Galil Ace, same thing. I mean, it's shooting really well, no keyholing, so it will also move on with that ammo. And again, we've got the Ruger American Ranch, same thing, doing great. It'll move on with that ammo. So we got the Hornady SubX 255 grain. Again, the Galil is going to cycle it. We are not shooting them through the Wasser because the Wasser is already tumbling these things at only 25. So let's see if any of these can get these to stabilize back here. All right. Group doesn't look to be too bad though, but let's go see it up close. Man, this is a super good group. I've got 2 in the same hole here, 2 in the same hole here. I was aiming about right there, and that tracks. The last time I shot some of these at about 50 yards, I was hitting this steel. Let me see if you guys can see that. This steel. So this is about 4-inch steel target from 50. With that thing pretty easy, and I was having to aim or hold right. But yeah, that's really good. I really like to see that, because I love these Hornady SubXs because they actually expand like we talked about before. So it would really hurt my feelings to find out that these things were actually tumbling end over end, you know, by only 50 yards. So let's move on to the American Ranch. So American Ranch, I've got 3 shots right here, 1 a little low. That's still not bad. I feel like this one hit really low. This is like the first round, and then they kind of moved up here. I was literally aiming here. So these things are dropping like a rock out of the American. I don't know why. Maybe it's not zeroed, obviously, for subs. It's zeroed for supers. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to 100 after we tape these up and see how they all do. All right, we are loaded up with brown bear. We're actually gonna shoot 5 rounds because this is gonna be the ultimate test, because we just doubled the range we were shooting at last time. So we're shooting at 100 yards. Here's the wasser. All right, now we'll try the Galil Ace. Galil Ace, same thing, brown bear 196 grain. All right, next for the Ruger American Ranch. I'm gonna aim pretty high for this because we were getting some pretty low shots because this thing is zeroed at 50 with normal ammo. So I'm gonna use I'll just use the 400 yard mark for this because this is a primary arm scope. All right, let's take a trip down there and see what we got. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, none of them tumbling. So brown bear is a pass all the way out to 100 yards with the wasser. So I would say overall the general population of you guys, despite what gun you have, you're probably going to be okay if you can find the brown bear. That is the main problem, is actually getting a hold of it. So anyway, let's go on to the Galil Ace. All right, so Galil Ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm hitting left. That's a trend, but nothing's keyholing. So again, brown bear doing good. Yeah, I don't know how far. It's going to be really far before these things start to tumble, I think. So again, if you can find them, definitely pick some up. Let's move on to the American Ranch. All right, American Ranch actually did pretty damn good. Again, 6 power scope versus iron sights and a dot. But I digress. I was using the 400 yard hold on that primary arm scope, and it was actually, I was getting hits like this is exactly where I was aiming. So that's actually pretty impressive. But same thing, no keyholing. So again, 3 rifles, all three different ranges all performed really well. Brown Bear definitely gets a pass. My only complaint is that some rifles, if you want to shoot them suppressed, they will not cycle. So that is one downside to them. So anyway, I'm going to take these up and we're going to move on to the PPU. All right, again, we're starting with Wasser, but this time running the PPU. So if I can get this thing back out of here. Brass case, PPU 182 grain. All right, let's move on to the Galil Ace. PPU. I'm actually going to aim a little bit right this time. Right shoulder. Oh. Interesting. A little malfunction there. Shoved that bullet right back down in the case. So that's no good. Let me replace that real quick. All right, move on to the American Ranch. Still gonna use that 400-yard hold. All right, let's go see what we got. So Wasser with PPU ammo. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. Holding together good. Group obviously isn't that great. I was aiming way up here. So majority of my shots are here. Gun zeroed for 200 with normal ammo, so I didn't expect it to necessarily have point of aim, point of impact, but holding true at 100. The only thing is, this PPU ammo, the only thing it cycles well in is a bolt action. So, but as far as just not tumbling, so far it's doing good. Let's move on to the Galil Ace. All right, so Galil Ace, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure where this one come from. Maybe I accidentally sighted up on this target for one of those shots. I don't know, but I was aiming over here, hit here. Decent group, same thing, no tumbling. The only problem is they just don't cycle. So again, it's okay if you got a bolt action. Let's look at what the Ruger did. All right, so Ruger American Ranch, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still using that 400-yard hold on that 7.62x39/300 blackout primary arm scope. This is probably be the best thing to shoot this out of. This ammo is the Ruger American Ranch. Throw a can on it, probably sound super good. But without further ado, last but not least, we're going to test out the Galil Ace and the American Ranch with Hornady SubX. All right, Galil Ace Gen 2 with Hornady SubX. All right, let's go see what we got. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 rounds, less than my fist at 100 yards with the Galil Ace. And like all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, those all look good. This one, I don't know if the bullet was starting to tumble, but still 100 yards is probably the max I would try to be shooting some of these subsonics, because I mean, they're falling like rocks, especially these 255 grains. I mean, they're coming back down to earth pretty quick. But still, overall pass for the Galil Ace on all ammo types, so that's pretty good. And it makes me happy to see how well these things actually group at 100 yards with that short of a barrel and that twist rate. So let's move on to the Ruger American Ranch. All right, Ruger American Ranch. So I've got one way down here, but then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. I was using holding here, but that was also with the 400-yard hold. Again, rifle's not zeroed for 100 with either standard ammunition or subsonic, so not too worried about it, but not even the slightest sign of tumbling. Again, I feel like this Ruger may have a slightly tighter bore than the other two rifles, and overall I think it has performed the absolute best. Granted, it does have a scope on it, so that might be part of it, but either way, let's just break this down at a recap. All right, so there we have it. 3 different rifles tested, 3 different types of ammo also. The star of the show, I believe, being the Brown Bear. It performed well out of all. It even cycled the Galil Ace, so that's a huge plus. PPU did well. The only gun, obviously, that it cycles well in is the bolt action because it's manual, so who knows? Maybe we can do some things in the future with the Galil Ace, do like a little project, see if we can get this to cycle, or this stuff to cycle, and also be okay with standard ammo. That's going to be a video for another time. But Hornady SubX did have issues in the wasser at only 25 yards, I might add, which I thought it was really odd, seeing as the other two performed really well all the way out to 100. The big bonus is here with these is these actually expand, so you could use these for hunting / self-defense, and they would be pretty good. Another thing I thought was kind of odd is occasionally you would see, only on the Ace, you'd see like one bullet hole slightly elongated, and that makes me wonder if that back of that bullet is doing this or something like this as it's going. Like, it's not quite, it's stabilized enough to not keyhole, but not stabilized enough to not slightly hit a little cattywampus. But our groups were good, so I was happy to see that. Still, I think the overall star of the show is SubX and this thing for just overall practicality. Like, I could actually use this again, self-defense, for hunting, but for you guys that like to mag dump into trash, see if you can score some of this Brown Bear, because that's going to probably be, even at $1 a round, that's still cheaper than $1.50 a round. And you know, if you're just shooting old water heaters at the city dump, it's not going to matter. So anyway, if you guys like this video, like to see more of this content, like and subscribe. Thanks for coming.